classic Carpool, ladies and gentlemen. In a big rush, please welcome into the passenger seat, Mr. Bob Burnquist.
Alright, let's put this here. So
I'll go home and just take that out. That's great, this is really slick. We're actually ready to go. You have to set your seatbelt, that's essential.
oh, we need a seatbelt here, safety
Yeah, so it's all safety. You'd be amazed at the trouble I got in for not doing that. They're called compliance officers in the UK.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Which is good, and it's sensible, it's very sensible.
No, it's nice, I don't get to drive, thanks for driving.
Yeah, no problem, no.
Even though I love driving the Prius.
Yeah, because you drive one as well.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
At first it was kind of like, wow, this is high tech, I just gotta press a button and that's it.
Yeah, no keys, no...
Yeah.
No, it is very different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, every time my wife drives it, she's like, oh, what do I got? I gotta do... No, you just gotta press that, hit the brake and press the button and it's on. Yeah,
now this is quite exciting for me because this is my first visit to this quite crazy town.
No, this place is insane.
Yeah.
I've been here a few times. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really like Vegas.
I think I can join you on that.
Yeah, it's not a place that I'm like very crazy about. It's one of those places you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
You know? But as the first time I came here, I was just like, wow, this is insane. I mean, this is insane. Look at all these lights and all these people.
Yeah. But to actually live here would be quite challenging.
That'd be insane.
I would go
would
crazy.
not be able to do it.
Yeah.
And most people that do, I mean,
well, then
they don't really come to the strip. You know, I know a lot of guys that do, and they're just like, oh man, we don't go out there. We just have their own little local places they go to. And a lot of moto guys, you know, are out here.
Oh, really?
They live out here. Yeah, Kerry Hart's one of the most famous guys that actually, you know, live out here. So.
But you live in California. I'm in
California. I'm in Vista, which is North County, San Diego.
Right.
Yeah. I'm originally from Brazil, so I grew up down in Brazil. I was born and raised there.
Well, that is green, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just...
No problem.
Feel safe.
Hey, drive and talk. You know, it's like...
You're completely safe.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, I mean, I guess I should say that, you know, having a 17-year-old skateboarding son, you know, to tell the viewers, you know, that every single guest I've ever had on Carpool, he goes, yeah, whatever. And then when I told him I was going to meet you, he was just... He didn't speak. That's how I know it was a big deal.
You're like, wait, usually you're... No, this is, you know, it's great. I mean,
but that's because you've been doing it, presumably, since you were a kid.
I started when I was 10. I've been doing it for 23 years.
Wow.
You know, and you know, it's just.
And when you say you started when you were 10, were you like competing at 10?
No, I let my friend borrow my soccer ball. Right. And he lost it. Right. So I went to his house and I was like, hey, where's my soccer ball? It was one of my best friends. It wasn't that big of a deal. And he's like, oh, I don't know where I left it. But you can have that little board. And it was a little fiberglass skateboard. I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, so I grabbed it and then I started skating inside the house and just kind of messing around. And I got my first real board on my 11th birthday, which was really cool the way my dad did it. Which he went out to the skate shop and bought the board. He didn't buy it complete. He bought all the parts. Right. So then he gave it to me on my birthday, and we built it together. We set it up together. Right. So he didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. Wow. And we were like, you know, we kind of had the day. And I remember to this day, I mean, it was such a cool experience that, you know, he actually dove in like that, and instead of just giving me a complete, oh, here's a board, kid. You know, he actually, you know, experienced it with me, and we put it together, and then that was 11 on my 11th birthday. Wow. So haven't stopped since. I really started competing probably when I was 14. Right. 13, 14, and even maybe even younger.
But that was in Brazil, was it?
In Brazil, yeah, Sao Paulo. You know, I was born in Rio and raised in Sao Paulo. Wow. We moved around a lot. My dad was, you know, into commodities and graduated Berkeley agricultural economy, so he went down to Brazil to deal with cotton and all kinds of things, and ended up working with coffee for a long time. So we moved around a lot. Right. But Sao Paulo was the place where I kind of really got into skateboarding. And, you know, lots of parks and then all the streets, obviously very urban. Right. And, you know, so it was the one thing that kept me out of trouble, you know. Got me in trouble and kept me out, you know, kept me out of the real trouble. Got me in trouble with people and places that you go skate, but kept me out of trouble, you know, when it came to drugs and, you know, kind of taking that whole route. So Right. That's interesting, because, I mean, in your mind then there's not... Because what it seems to me, and I mean, it's the thing that we've been really relieved at with our kid, is that the kids he skates with, you know, to the average sort of middle-class suburban person, look quite scary. But when you meet them, they're the sweetest kids, and they're really polite, and they're really nice, and they're not, you know, they're fantastic. You know, well,
he's got fantastic friends that he's made through skating. I mean,
yeah, and that's great. I mean, skateboarding is great like that. You got people from all kinds of different walks.
Am I meant to stop?
Yeah, you're supposed to stop. Yeah.
Sorry, just
that's Vegas traffic for you.
Well, no, because it was red and there's all these people going over it. So.
Yeah. But you know, it's one of the cool things about skateboarding is that it has a lot of different personalities. But for the most part, you know, you learn. You know, you fall all the time. You're kind of like getting up, and then you continue. You have to be determined to learn tricks and go through your day in skateboarding. So, you know, you tend to have a little bit more assertion when you do things because you know what it takes. You know it's not just first try stuff, even though you can learn something first try.
Yeah.
But for the most part in life, you fall and you get back up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
So skateboarding is really, you know, it's got that thing. I mean, it teaches that, and then you know, you bond from skating together. I mean, I've traveled the world, and you know, I've traveled to places where people didn't speak English or Portuguese.
Right.
You know, so now I'm like, I can't talk to anyone.
Right.
But when you skate, you bond. You know, you become friends, and you go through these. You know, I mean, because when you're skating, I mean, depending on what level you're doing it at, but you're taking some pretty heavy slams.
Yes.
You know, so whoever's with you, you know, you kind of like they're there to help you out.
Right.
You know, if something goes down or whatever, and you're kind of there for each other.
Yeah. And I've seen that you have a enormous, stupid English term, but enormous ramp at your play, which just is. When I saw that, I went, I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, I didn't
either. The
either.
stuff you do on that, it's just.
I didn't know it was possible either when I started, but you know, it's just.
But presumably there had to be a day when you did the first go on it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I had to check it out for the first time when you know, gradually, really. I didn't start on something that big just all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, yeah.
But, you know, I started skating the mini ramps and the vert ramps, and then the big ramps came around, the super quarter pipes, and then all of a sudden we're jumping huge gaps, and then now we're doing what we're doing, jumping 70-foot gaps, going into 30 feet quarter pipes, going like, you know, 25 feet up above the quarter pipe. I mean, it's like, it's a whole different line of skateboarding.
Yeah.
And when it comes to actually having one of those in my backyard, I mean, never in my wildest dreams I thought that I was going to have something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I started with a vert ramp, and once I had that, I was just like, wow, I'm like in heaven. That's all I need. And then things just kept growing from there, from a loop to a corkscrew, and just I kept creating things, and then all of a sudden, you know, the mega ramp came about. So the first time I jumped on it, I was just like, man, this is just so addicting, so fun.
Right.
You know, and then the tricks, it just opened up this whole world of tricks, you know, and you know, being a trick hound, it was just like, wow, this is, you know, it opened up a whole door of tricks, and I can just, you know, feel that feeling of like trying something and then learning it.
Yeah.
You know, you only get by learning something new.
Yes.
You know, and the more time you spend on your skateboard, the more progression you make, and the higher the level, the harder it is to come up with something new, obviously, because, you know, now you got to really think, and you got to really come up with obstacles, and then, you know, it's just really fun. I mean, it's like a whole nother world. It's one of my favorite things to do is just skate and learn tricks on that.
So I mean, would you skate most days of the week? I mean, would you have a go? I guess if you're traveling, you're not going to be.
It takes a lot of pounding when it comes to skating the mega ramp. So what I try and do is, like, I'll put in like 1, 2, 3 day off, and then another 1, 2, and then a day off, and then sometimes I'll just, like, you know, I haven't really touched it for probably a month, because I had a vert event. So then I don't touch, I just skate the vert, because it's a whole nother rhythm, a whole nother reality. You know, if there's a bowl event, then I'll only skate the bowls. You know, you got to kind of get into a little groove.
Focus on that one.
Yeah, but if I want to learn a certain trick, I'll put a lot of time on that, and then I'm ready for it. And I just, you know, I work out pretty much every day, just trying to make sure I'm strong to be able to take the hits and all that. So it's constant. I mean, it's you know, there's a fun aspect in skateboarding where people think, oh, he just goes out there and skates. Yeah. And then there's the, you know, the workout part of things where it's just like, hey, you have to do it if you want to, you know, continue to progress on that level. And the older I get, the more demanding of my body I am, you know, and then the older my body gets, I need to really take care of it. So, you know, every day we skate, probably 60 to 70% of the session is falling. Right. You know, because if you're learning something, 90%, 95% of it is falling, and then, you know, 5% is like, okay, you just made it. You know, I mean, so. But when you're out there, you're gonna fall. So those hits, you know, if you're falling off the mega ramp, you're falling off 20 feet, and you make a mistake, then you're landing really low, and you know you can quickly blow your knee or take a really good your shoulder or whatever. You can, or just the pounding during the day. You know, my back and my pelvis and my ribs, I mean, they're all off. So then I got to get to their chiropractor and get it back together. You know, so those kind of hits. You know, if you're strong, you can take them without being so sore the next day. You know, and if you're in a competition, you're going to be skating at least 10 days in a row heavily. You know, so you got to prepare for those 10 days. You know, because if you don't, by the third day, you can't even get off the bed. You know, you're so sore. You know, and nowadays I don't really get that sore. I mean, I skate a lot, and I'm not as sore as I used to be when I only skated and I didn't do the workout program on the side. You know, so yeah, it's huge.
What is, you know, being an old bloke is hard to imagine is that how that, like, things like the skateboarding games have become huge. You know, you know, when I've seen my son playing on skateboarding, you've probably been in it. I wouldn't even know. I bet you have.
Sure. I have.
But that, I mean, that is very. Well, he loves them. I mean, it's intriguing. And I guess, I mean, is it possible that you could play? You know, a kid who can do a couple of tricks could play that game and see tricks and then go and work out. Even if they couldn't do it straight away, work out what the trick is or what it's made of.
Well, I think what you get is the fix of skateboarding. You know, in the virtual reality. You know, I mean, as a skateboarder, hey, I was never really into video games that much. You know, until Tony Hawk's series came around. You know, of his games, and then you know I ended up being in the first one with him, and then I started playing the character and just the feel, the style, because most of the games didn't really have that much of skateboarders' input, so it came from people from outside that programmed the game that didn't really skate. Tony's game, he dove in and made sure that it was as realistic as it could possibly be, so that as a skateboarder playing it, you felt it was legitimate. You know, and it being legitimate, you were hooked, because now you can skate without skating. So your time off of skateboarding, you're still thinking skating, and you're having fun, and you're doing these fantastic and fantasy type tricks, you know, and you're going and you're grinding on trees and you're going on buildings and you're huge ramps, and it's just like, wow, you know, so that's super fun. But you know, there are tricks in real life that aren't in the video games. Now, obviously there's a lot of the tricks in the video games that you just can't possibly do in real life, but you know, it's super fun. And what that has done as well is, like, it's brought the trick names, it's educated a lot of, you know, kids that didn't know anything about it, and even parents that are playing with their kids and interacting, like, hey, you like skateboarding? That's cool, let's play a little skateboarding game with you. And then all of a sudden they're more open, and they're like, oh wow, this is like really great, you know, and oh, what's a kickflip indie? Oh, there's a 540, a front side, you know, this, and then you're like, all of a sudden you got people that would never even know about these names, more educated about skateboarding tricks and all that. So it's great. It definitely has reached into the living rooms of families across the world, and you know, skateboarding has touched them in that way.
Because that's the thing we've always loved. We try and be discreet about it, my wife and I, but with the terms for the tricks, you know, and my son had learned all the terms way before he could do them. He can do them now. I mean, he's good. You know.
And the terms are really, they're basic. I mean, once you start skating, there's basic terms that when you see a trick happen, it's just like all those terms together make the name of the trick. Certain tricks have their own names alone, but most tricks are a combination of one to grind to 180 out to this, you know. So there's all these cool things, but the game definitely has that. You know, you do one and the next, and then it just kind of lines them all up, and then you're like, oh wow, you know, you can impress your kid by just playing the game for an hour, and the next day you're like, oh, so what about this and that? You know? And, so that's pretty cool.
I don't think I'll be doing that, but in theory I can.
But you could if you played the game, and then you know, it has, the names are right there.
But the other thing I read about you recently was about haven't you developed skateboards that are more
the bamboo boards. You know, that's a trend. I mean, you know, throughout my life as a skateboarder, and as I grew up and matured into, you know, knowing what's going on out there in the world, you know, I've always wanted to connect with the sustainable side of manufacturing and products, and you know, especially if I'm going to put my signature on something and my name, you know, I definitely want to make sure that we can do it in a way that's got a message coming across. And obviously skateboards are made out of wood, and it's the Canadian maple, and you know, it's a finite resource.
Right.
So, 40 years for a Canadian maple tree to grow, 6 years for a bamboo.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
You put it together and develop it. I mean, it doesn't really ride as the Canadian maple does, but you know, we were able to come up with combinations, like, you know, the whole hybrid thought.
Right.
You know, instead of all one thing, like you can't just wean people off of like gasoline like that, okay, or just cut it off, like that's it. Like, it just doesn't work. You gotta, there's a transition phase, and that's why I really like the whole hybrid term and the whole hybrid thought, because in the skateboarding world, I was able to, hey, let's do the bamboo and let's do some Canadian maple, and we had some hemp fibers, and we kept playing with stuff.
So you were kind of laminating.
Yeah, laminating, different, you know, just kind of coming up, and then you skate it, and the thickness and the way it rides, I mean, it all has to feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can come up with a sustainable board, but if it doesn't feel functional, if it's not to the level of the performance that I demand, it's not really there.
Yeah.
So it's all about just trying and keep pushing and just trying new avenues, and then, you know, and then eventually, hey, there could be huge manufacturing of bamboo skateboards. There already is some pretty good numbers coming out of Brazil on bamboo boards as well.
Right.
You know, so it's picking up out there, and there's a lot of people doing it.
Right.
But I definitely enjoyed pushing that, and you know, one of the cool things is that I think the last 3 years at the Do Tour, Toyota has helped me, you know, with this board, and then doing recycled programs around the festival area, and then they bring in the tickets, and then we raffle the bamboo skateboard.
Right.
I mean, there's more to it than just winning a skateboard.
Yeah.
You know, there's more to it than just going by Bob's sponsor booth and just signing autographs. You know, there's a whole group and a whole message around it that is the whole experience.
Right.
You know? So from the board to the glasses. I mean, my signature Oakley glasses are you know, made out of like other glasses extra material.
Oh, right.
You know, so they pick it all up, and then they make my glass, and they have a little bamboo Oakley, and we put it in a little what is it, organic cotton bag, and that's, you know, packaged in recycled paper, printed out soy ink,
right?
You know, so like, I mean, to whatever level we want it to be, you know, and you know.
Well, it's also the fact that it's possible to do that.
It is. You just got to really push, and you got to really do it, especially when you're doing it for the first time, especially when you're pioneering that in an industry and in a market that's like not used to it. In times of need, there are paradigm shifts in thought.
No, it's absolutely true.
And it's great that that's happening, and we need to move faster, but at least you get people to think. It's becoming, I mean, because it's always been kind of a joke in the UK, certainly, you know, when you go, because people make jokes about, oh, he's going to be organic, and he's going to be recycling, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's faded because because everyone's like, no,
doing
that's the real deal.
You know? Everyone's doing it. You know, there's no point making fun of it.
You start joking about people that aren't doing it. You know, it's like, wow, you're really that. I can't believe that. So.
No, it's a big change. But I mean, because also I'm fascinated by. I've never been to Brazil. I'd love to go, but I read a really interesting paper about, you know, in the 70s oil crisis, how Brazil dealt with that. But then, you know, because everybody went, oh my God, we've got to do something. You know, it was all a big deal. This is before you were born, when I was, you know, when I was a kid. But it was and it seemed like Brazil went, yeah, we've got to do something about it, and we're going to carry on doing something about it. I mean, because of their ethanol production and all that stuff.
And they did, and not. I think it was in 2006 that we became completely self-sustained.
That is incredible.
So, and that is like 100%. We do not need any foreign.
Wow.
You know.
But there are.
But it's a mix, right? It's a mix in the biodiesel, very big, you know, from the ethanol.
But there's oil extraction in Brazil. I mean, standard, you know, regular oil.
And there's a huge, you know, the huge thing now, which is the pre-salt, you know, deep oil well that they found or whatever, like, you know, just reservoir of oil. And, you know, there's this big excitement about it. Obviously, people are already taking loans and, like, you know, all this stuff. And you know, states are fighting for a piece of the pie, even though it's in this one place, it's a Brazilian resource, and all this stuff. And then the Deepwater Gulf spill happened. Right. So that definitely shows like, hey, you know, these are supposed to be the high-tech people that know what's going on, and then look at the size of the mess up that just happened. So, I mean, it's really a hard one. I'd rather see Brazil continue on with their mission of their biodiesel and really pushing for all that. But it's very tempting, you know, economically to be, you know,
for
speculating.
If you find that much stuff.
In the pre-salt, and it's even deeper than what happened here. So
you're kidding? Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll take a lot. So that kind of took. I mean, a spill like that in Brazil, in a place like as beautiful as Brazil, and, you know, and it's just very tragic. So we definitely got to watch what's going on and make sure we push for the right, you know, the right technology.
Right.
So.
Oh shit. Kind of stopped. Couldn't tell where I was meant to stop.
It's okay.
There was no line.
They'll just smile at us because we're driving a Prius. Hey,
that's very embarrassing.
That's good.
I like to do one of those.
Well, you're used to driving on the other side, so I'll give you
driving on the other side, but no, I'm used to also having a big white line on the road. There wasn't anything there. Just sort of a black bit.
Construction Vegas.
Yeah, I stopped anyway. That was the main thing. Even though I stopped right in the middle of the junction.
That's cool. I didn't see it. No one knows.
No one knows. I mean, it has been an amazing career, because you've been. Just show off about your championship status, because when I looked at the list, I went, "Oh my God, that's quite a lot of firsts wins."
No, I don't really feel like I'm a competitive skateboarder as per se. You know, like, I mean, I'm pretty up and down when it comes to competition.
Right.
But it's worked out and been up more than down.
Right.
And it's very surprising to me just because of the way I approach skateboarding. But you know, it's definitely something that, you know, I've been very fortunate with, just, you know, being able to have all the sponsors and be able to, you know, travel the world and skate the contest, be successful, and then also be able to progress skateboarding and film and do all these things that are outside of that, and come up with new obstacles and all these different things. I have a hard time kind of staying in one place. Like, you know, I've won 2 world championships when it's like an overall rank out of the year, and I've won several events in different categories. You know, but really what you know, makes me really satisfied and happy is the fact that I was able to progress skateboarding and create these outside the box type of things. You know, so that's really where my excitement and my pride in skateboarding is being able to create.
Well, that's fantastic, Bob. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for driving around.
You're not even late for your signing.
No, I am good. You did great.
I'm only going to stop on the green now. The man will come and tell me off.
Yeah, you'll get beeped.